So freedom is coming. Freeland resigns today and Trudeau panics. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jean-Claude Mystic, and this is my special report on December 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining me in the live chat. We are currently triple casting on YouTube, Rumble, and also here on Twitter. So breaking news today, guys. We have Minister Freeland here in Canada being clear, perhaps for the first time in her political career this morning. She's just resigned now from cabinet. I quit. The Globe and Mail reports this morning here, Chrystia Freeland has in fact resigned from cabinet. Now, before we get into this decode here today, I've tried to put together a concise report on everything leading up to this particular announcement today and perhaps where we go moving from there. But before I get into all of that, I do want to address some of the rumors that have been swirling around this morning. So first, I have to tell you, no, I will not be delivering the fall economic statement this afternoon. And no, I will not be running for the PM here in Canada. So thank you, Cliff, for the sentiments. But no. Okay. So let's get to the business here today. We have a couple of reports from our opposition. Let me start with Pierre Pulliver. Pulliver says Trudeau forces Freeland to bust through her $40 billion guardrail, then throws her off the cliff. It appears to be that way. There's a picture down there of Mark Carney. We're going to get back to him here in just a moment. Now, Maxime Bernier, for his part, on his social media, let me read this in French. C'est complètement surréaliste. It's absolutely unreal or surreal. Des rumeurs de désaccord entre Freeland et Trudeau courent depuis quelques semaines concernant les bonbons de la TPS et le cadeau de 250 piastres. So Maxime Bernier is saying here that there's been rumors in the last couple of weeks here that Freeland and Trudeau were not getting along as it pertained to this holiday season GST giveaway and this $250 vote buying scheme by Trudeau. Speaking of that vote buying scheme of $250, it was just announced on the National Post, the scoop here, that Freeland was in fact reversing the promised $250 working Canadians check in this mini budget update here scheduled for today. So that was Maxime Bernier. Let's see what the Bloc Québécois has to say. Let me just refresh. I don't think he had anything. Oh, we're talking about Yves Blanchette. No, he still hasn't posted here today. Let's look at what the NDP are saying. Well, there you go. That's what the NDP is saying. They're holding for dear life here, trying to prevent the Liberal Party from falling off a cliff. Now, was this a big surprise? I think so. I have a few friends who are still in the corridors of power, and I was speaking to them this morning, and none of them saw this coming. This is catching the whole cabinet here and caucus by surprise. So is there panic in the PM's office? I think so. Let's get into some of the news media reporting about all of this. This is Vasi Capellos reporting on CTV News just an hour ago. Let's see what she has to say here, and we'll come back for commentary.
And CTV's news chief political correspondent Vashi Capellos is standing by with more for us. Vashi, was anyone expecting this today?
No, I can tell you pretty conclusively, actually, that I just got off the phone with a couple of people who are Prime Minister office adjacent, we'll call them. They were on a flight from Toronto to Ottawa that a number of staffers were on as well this morning. There was no Wi-Fi on that flight when they landed. The news had just come about this resignation, about the finance minister's resignation, and they were all completely taken aback. I am told that there was virtually no heads up that this was going to happen. And both Colton and your other guests have really underscored the significance of this moment for the Liberal government. I mean, first, the timing of it, the fact that this is happening on a day when the finance minister was expected to table the fall economic statement. And I can tell you right until Thursday evening, Friday morning, that was the plan, because we were arranging an interview with the finance minister for 5 o'clock Eastern tonight when Power Play was about to get underway. So things were progressing, as you heard and as you've been reporting.
So there you have it. That's CTV News reporting also behind the scenes here in Power Play that this was not expected. So a huge shock here to the Liberal Party and to Canadians waking up this Monday morning. Now, let's see also what perhaps some of her friends and colleagues have to say about this reaction here.
Chrystia Freeland is a good friend, someone I work with very, very closely as president of the Treasury Board and Minister of Transport. This news has hit me really hard, and I'll reserve further comment until I have time to process it.
Okay, not looking too well for her colleagues also. Now, interestingly enough, this gentleman also, this is not the first resignation. We also had Sean Fraser just announce his resignation also. Let's play that first clip here from his press conference being basically T-boned here by Freeland's announcement.
You said earlier that you were learning the news as you were speaking. What does it say of your party, of the Prime Minister, of where the Liberals are at federally, that two key cabinet ministers are resigning at the same moment on a Monday morning of the fall economic statement?
Look, I can't speak to the motivations that my colleague, Ms. Freeland, may have. I can only speak for myself. Truth be told, I had intended, though I'd made this decision for myself a few months ago, my announcement today is tied only to my desire to be a more present father and to be in my community.
Okay. We'll move on from that one. A little bit frustrating to me to listen to. Now, Pierre Poilievre was also addressing now, just a couple of minutes. I believe he's still live. I took two timestamps I want to share with you guys. The first one is at the 3-second mark. Let me see if I can just back out. And then the second one will be at the 5-minute mark. You guys can follow along with this here also on my Twitter.
What we are seeing is the government of Canada itself is spiraling out of control right before our eyes and at the very worst time. Today, mere hours before Trudeau's finance minister was to deliver a fall economic update that was expected to smash through her already massive deficit targets, she announced she no longer has confidence in the Prime Minister.
No longer any confidence in the Prime Minister. Yes, hours before this fall economic statement is supposed to be delivered here. So the next segment is at the 5-minute 21 mark. Let me see if I can try to do that live with you guys here without busting your eardrums. Hold on, 5:23. Let's play it from here. This one here.
In government will come to an end. Will come to an end.
He's reading from Chrystia Freeland's resignation letter to the Prime Minister this morning, where she says that here, inevitably, our time in government will come to an end. Is that what we're really seeing here? This is the decode for today. And also join me tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern for a special broadcast with Janine, where we're going to pull the curtains behind all of this, back from all of this, and look into the woo here to see what's really happening. So these two guys, Freeland and Prime Minister resigning here today. Is this the end of the Trudeau government? Is he collapsing before our very eyes? That could be. There's more and more news now coming out that could be the case. And this is not news if you've been following our channel here for the last number of months. Remember that in this is CBC News in October, we had this revolt in caucus. We had 24, maybe up to 30 members of caucus openly asking for Trudeau to resign. Now, he came out of that meeting very cocky, saying that the Liberal Party was strong and standing together and resilient moving forward. But we're seeing cracks in that narrative here today. So lots of breaking news now. So I thought this was important to bring also. There was a first reading. This is on the National Post. The Liberal Party may never recover was the title. Never before in Canada's 157 years has the Liberal brand stood so close to annihilation. And I reposted that article from the National Post, and I said, well, Ontario remembers. And if you guys know anything about Canadian politics, you're looking at Kathleen Wynne, who used to be the Premier of Ontario under the Liberal flag. They've been pretty much sidelined now for quite some time after this big debacle, and it appears that Trudeau at the federal level is heading in the same way here. And so I thought this was an interesting article. If you guys want to go read that, that's on the National Post. Now, let me be clear again. So let's go back to Freeland. I quit. And this is me, of course, paraphrasing. Read my spiteful breakup letter for Trudeau. And so you can go to Twitter also and read that. But in there is that line where our time inevitably in Government Hill will come to an end. Let me see if I can bring that one a little bit closer for you guys, so you guys can go and read that. I feel this letter is kind of disjointed. It's not very well crafted. It might have been very hectic this morning to put this together. It sounds a little bit spiteful too. Like you have to read between the lines there. Very interesting coming from the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance here, Chrystia Freeland. So you guys can go and read that on Twitter. It's official news now as of this morning. So the big thing here is, of course, this is all happening just hours before they were set to table this economic statement. In the last couple of weeks leading up to this, they've been under a lot of pressure, the Liberal government here, because it appeared that the guide rails that they had given themselves of not passing the $40 billion deficit has been, in fact, been lifted. There's a lot of rumors to that effect. Reporters have been hot on our trail in the last couple of weeks leading up to this, and there's been a lot of stress. And of course, Trudeau has been trying to give away Christmas candy in terms of a GST break that nobody really wanted or needed, and also this $250 check here to try to regain some votes moving into next year's political election campaign season. So a lot of weird things are happening there too. And so the big question today is, well, who's going to deliver it? That's fascinating. She did post something else. If you guys want to go read on the Hill Times, who might be delivering it. But she says, Chrystia Freeland, well, really, that's the government or that's Trudeau's problem at this point. When asked if she will be delivering Canada's fall economic statement despite her resignation as finance minister, Chrystia Freeland said, well, that's Trudeau's problem. So you see, they're not all singing happily together here in the Liberal Party, strong and united, as perhaps Trudeau was trying to make us believe just a couple of months ago in this gaslighting campaign. Now, there's a lot of rumors spinning that Mark Carney might be coming back to politics. We've been covering some of the steps leading up to this here in the last couple of months. And I want to play this quick excerpt of his interview on Uncommons. Let me see if I can bring that to bear for you guys, and we'll come back for more commentary.
The government, why you've got, you're making money at Brookfield, you've got your UN envoy role. Yeah. You don't need to throw yourself into the Pierre Poilievre attacks and the Michael Barrett saying conflict this and carbon tax Carney, and why insert yourself in this way now?
I could ask you the same question, and all the people who work for you, which is I mean there's a couple levels of it. I mean, there's the personal level, which this country has given me so much, virtually everything. I think when I think about it, my education,
So personal level, political level, financial level. He's basically saying in this interview that steps are being made in the background for his return. So is that perhaps why Trudeau was demoting Freeland last Friday, and why she's saying now that she is quitting instead of staying on in this new diminished capacity? Time will tell. Perhaps the remaining hours of today will lead more information on that as well. So we're going to stay on track with this. Now, the Plebe reporter says, I have a feeling Trudeau is going to resign today. I don't know. I mean, this guy's been so resilient over the last number of years, scandal after scandal after scandal, yet he's still here. But it appears that time is running short for Mr. Trudeau. So we'll stay focused on that, and we'll be asking those questions later tonight. I thought this Matt Alexander tweet was interesting. The fall of the Liberal Party appears planned. It's all intentional, he says. It has to be. They're almost forcing the people into the arms of the opposition. The population of Canada is actually being herded politically like cattle, he says. He has this cool poster. This is an old movie, Bon Cop, Bad Cop. I don't know if you've seen this. That could be. We have to stay vigilant here. Now, so far, Pierre Poilievre is saying a lot of the things that we want to hear, but we'll see. We have to keep their feet to the fire, and we'll keep decoding that here as we move forward. Now, again, on more of that tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. Typically, we do these shows at 8. Guys, Janine is in the plane today, so she's flying back home, and she has asked me to push it back an hour. So it is, in fact, tonight, December 16 at 9 p.m. Eastern, as opposed to our 8 o'clock normal time slot for you guys, okay? So stay tuned for that. Now, going back to Freeland and how all of this started, her political woes, the financial woes of this party, and her being completely out of touch. We reported on this a couple of weeks ago, where Freeland was saying, no, actually, we have super positive economic data points. It's really the population, they're in a bad vibe. She called it a vibe session, right? Not a recession, but a vibe session. So, notwithstanding the positive outlook on the economy, it's really the people's, I guess, depressive nature here that are affecting the economy. That's what she says. Let's, as weird as that sounds, that's pretty much here what she's trying to convey in this crazy gaslighting episode. Let's play this a little clip for you guys.
The disconnect between the positive news that the numbers are showing about the Canadian economy and what people are feeling. He talked about how Canadians are feeling. And that's a really important economic point. A lot of economists have been talking about the vibe session and the fact that Canadians just aren't feeling good, and that is having real economic consequences. And the Canadian economists making that point are right, that there is a disconnect between the real economic, the really positive economic news, the fact that the Canadian economy does appear set for a soft landing. That's good news, but Canadians aren't feeling it, and that is shaping their economic behavior in ways that are not great for the Canadian economy. People have been talking about a vibe session.
Okay. I haven't heard any economists talking about a vibe session. Have you in live chat? Let me know. Let's move on here because we've got some retorts to all of this. This was the former Bank of Canada Governor Stephen Pallot saying just a day or two after this statement from Freeland that Canada was in fact suffering in a recession, and that we had suffered this 30% increase in the cost of living. So that's a very stark contrast to the gaslighting we are being given there. Now, this is not new. This Liberal Party has been gaslighting us for quite some time. Of course, if you remember this old clip from Prime Minister Trudeau saying that the budget would balance itself, right? Pierre Poilievre making mockery of that here on his Twitter as well. Now, let's play that clip if you guys don't remember. Let me see if I can bring this up for you guys.
In this economic climate, how committed to a balanced budget would you be right now? Would it worry you to go into deficit in this current climate to, as you say, put more people to work?
The commitment needs to be a commitment to grow the economy, and the budget will balance itself.
The budget will balance itself. Judging by the numbers that are about to be unleashed today, far surpassing the 40 billion deficit guardrail that Freeland and Trudeau had imposed on themselves just a couple of months ago. That doesn't appear to be the case. Reality here is asserting itself. Now, as reality is asserting itself and we're getting the gaslighting from Freeland in terms of, it's the people's problem. The economic numbers are great. Trudeau, just last week here, or last month, was out here saying that fighting climate change was even more important than paying rent or feeding their children. Absolutely crazy, out of touch government moving forward. So this is leading up to all of the pressure cooker, perhaps, that Freeland is feeling right now, and why this resignation, or this impromptu resignation here earlier this morning. All of this at the same time, Trudeau's been spending like $300K on catered food just for 2 of his many trips this last year. Sounds a lot like a Marie Antoinette let them eat cake situation here. And remember also, I think Freeland was telling people that they should cancel their subscription to Disney to save money, right? So let's hear this exchange here at one of the committees in House of Commons with respect to this outlook that is supposed to be tabled here later today.
No,
But I would
look
ask
forward
you a
to
simple
presenting
question.
the fall
Is the
economic
deficit
statement
going to be
on Monday.
higher or lower than the $60 billion your officials have leaked to the media?
I think that it is very important not to cast any doubt on Canada's financial credibility. So I want to take this opportunity to be very clear that Canada's fiscal position is
Will it be above
strong
or
and
below $60
sustainable
billion?
and continues
Yes or no? It's a simple question.
to be
Why won't you
the
answer whether or not it'll be
strongest
above
in
or below
the
60
G7.
billion? Did you
Okay. Can you hear that last part, guys? He said you can't hear it. I think you should hear it. You want me to play it again? Hold on. Did we just miss? Sound okay? 5x5. Maybe we lost the beginning. Okay, guys, let me play that again just to make sure you guys heard it. I do apologize for that. Let's play it again.
officials have leaked to the media that the deficit will be $60 billion or more. So is it going to be that higher or lower?
Mr. Perkins, because a Conservative filibuster has blocked the work of our Parliament.
Minister, the only
it has
filibuster is your
it has
unwillingness to
been a
produce the
challenge.
documents.
No,
But I would
look
ask you
forward
a
to
simple
presenting
question.
the fall
Is the
economic
deficit
statement
going to be
on Monday.
higher or lower than the $60 billion your officials have leaked to the media?
I think that it is very important not to cast any doubt on Canada's financial credibility.
Right, because the numbers are positive, she said. Okay. Maybe I missed the first couple of seconds there. I apologize, guys. We're trying to put all of this together in an impromptu fashion here today. Okay, so let's move forward here, too. It's not the first time she's had trouble with reporters. In this particular interview, again, with Vashi Kapelos, she was talking about this capital gains tax, new legislation being put forward. And Vashi was pressing her on whether or not there was actually proof positive that that would help the Canadian economy. Let's hear this first part of the exchange where Vashi is keeping her feet to the fire. And then we'll also skip to the end. As atrocious as this particular interview will be, you'll see the end of it was just absolutely mind-boggling.
Canadians, which is to be in a place where inflation has been within the Bank of Canada's.
Hold on, let me refresh, make sure we're at the right page for this one here. Hold on. There you go.
Nationally in 2023 from 2022 and expects them to further decline this year. Where's the proof point that the money you say that you're going to get from this additional revenue source is actually going to make Canadians' lives better?
Well, StatsCan actually reported today that permits are at a high, permits for new home building. So that is a very, very positive moment. Yeah, but you need a permit before you build a house. And the fact that we have a fiscally responsible plan to invest in Canada and Canadians has supported the Bank of Canada.
Okay. The economy is doing well because they have permits. Yeah, but those aren't houses yet. They're not built. And just the other minister who just resigned today was from the housing department also. Again, suggesting that there's more fire to hit us. Let's see the end part. Let's see if we can get to the exact part of it here. But I think it's this one here.
And to do this in a fiscally responsible way. And for me, the proof of the pudding is that just a few days ago, the Bank of Canada was able to lower interest rates, first country in the G7. So fairness for every generation. It's the right thing for Canada and Canadians, and it is working.
I have to leave it on that note. I'm being told in my ear your staff needs to get you out. So thank you very much, Minister. I appreciate you making the time for the conversation.
People are screaming in my ear, your staff wants to get you out of this interview. What a hot seat that was. Fabulous interview. Again, Vashi Kapelos' Power Play. You can watch that on YouTube. Okay, so who's Freeland in all of this? Let's remember. Let's bring this back. Freeland makes almost $3,600 per week, but decided to use cutting out of her Disney Plus subscription here as an idea for Canadians to save money. Completely out of touch. I forgot that earlier. That's the article I was looking for. Now, who's Freeland in all of this? Well, she's born in 1968 in Peace River, Alberta, Canada. Her previous occupation was editor, author, and journalist. Okay. If you know anything about the Mockingbird media, it might set the stage for who this person is moving forward. But more importantly, she's a proud member of the World Economic Forum. This is still on her page here. I'm looking at the World Economic Forum organizational chart here. And we cannot underestimate here the impact of this particular association. Let's play this clip now from Klaus Schwab explaining why this is so important and critical for Canadians.
But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
So Klaus Schwab, the penetrator, has penetrated half, and maybe more than half of the Canadian Trudeau government. Absolutely crazy. Now, there was an article, let me see if I can bring this up. Oh, Cliff reminds us here to remember always George Soros, a Jew, made his money by helping Jews find Jew money that they had hidden. Of course, he was responding to Dr. Simon Godek here, which says Klaus Schwab, father Eugene Schwab, was a Nazi. Well, that whole Nazi thing, we cannot forget. There's more information on that coming up also, but let me share this Rebel News article also. Exclusive documents revealing consistent communication between Liberal Finance Minister and World Economic Forum following Chrystia Freeland's appointment to Finance Minister. This was a couple of years ago, or March of 2023, suggesting that there was it's not just this penetration, but this tie, this very strong tie between the World Economic Forum and policy being put in place here in Canada, not on behalf of Canadians, but on behalf of the World Economic Forum. Cannot forget that moving forward. Now, in a piece of crazy journalism, the Ottawa Citizen actually posted this also in 2017. This is a way back. Chrystia Freeland's granddad was indeed a Nazi collaborator. So much for Russia disinformation, because at the time, the government was downplaying this particular association, and it was the Ottawa Citizen who wrote up this piece. I thought that was important to share with you guys here today. This led to, of course, just last year, the complete outrage here in Canada when Parliament, under Trudeau's government here, applauded or gave a standing ovation to this Nazi SS veteran. So you can see here where all of this is coming from. And if you're like questioning that at all, let's see some of the tactics that were used by Freeland also during the Freedom Convoy. Here she was really laughing, almost beside herself, when she was reporting that she was freezing Canadians' bank accounts, people who had donated $5 to the truckers so that they can have warm meals during their presentation in Ottawa on the stage. Let's play this clip here.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information.
Right? That's the smaller clip. I have a bigger one here. Let's play this one. Hold on.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. And the actual follow-up is, I'm just wondering.
But why is that funny? Like completely excluding people from their economic wealth from participating in the economy because they have a political belief? Again, those ties to the Nazi party seem to be shining through in all of this. Now, even worse than that is the fact that we were censoring reporters. Remember the Rebel News guy who got arrested for asking Freeland a question? Let's play this clip here from Tucker Carlson.
So what you have in a country like Canada, where you have an authoritarian government that's taken away civil liberties, a dying middle class, and no media, is you have almost nobody pushing back against the lies. There is maybe one news organization left in Canada that asks very simple questions of the people who run the country. Why are you doing this? Can you answer the question? That's Rebel News. Watch one of their reporters try to ask Chrystia Freeland, who's the finance minister of Canada, spent many years in Washington, D.C., known to many people who lived in D.C. as a kind of low IQ functionary. She now has power, and she does not want to answer any questions from the one independent media organization remaining in Canada. Watch what happens when a reporter tries to get her to answer the question.
Ms. Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government supporting Islamo-Nazis? What? You idiots. What are you doing? You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault. You're under arrest for assault. Police, you're under arrest. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me. You pushed into me. You bumped. I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here, and you just bumped into me.
So the Gestapo police here in Canada arresting journalists, absolutely crazy period of time. Now, Menzies was, of course, released after this. I believe there might still be a lawsuit against the police officer, but yeah, again, going back to this Nazi rhetoric, it's funny because we're being told time and time and time again that Trump is the Hitler or the Nazi. By their own actions here, the Liberal Party, not just here in Canada, but the Democrats in the States with all the censorship, have been showing themselves in this particular light. So make of that what you will. Crazy enough. So is Trudeau going to resign today? That's the question. I don't think so. There might be more resignations, though, coming down the pike. You remember when we did a report on the 24 caucus members who were asking for Trudeau to resign, it came out that the constitution for the Liberal Party had been changed when Trudeau took office to remove a section that would have enabled the party to kick out their leader in the event that things were as they are today. And so they no longer have that ability within the party. And constitutionalists were suggesting here in Canada that those party members could either resign en masse or decide to sit as independents and then vote against Trudeau here on these confidence motions that the opposition members are putting forward. Could that be where this is leading? So far, Freeland and this other minister have not left the party. They've resigned from cabinet, but they're still sitting as Liberals and would presumably continue to vote to prop up this government moving forward. Is that going to change in the next couple of hours and days? Maybe. Again, join us tonight here. We're going to be looking at that in more detail. Now, Poliver says we're in a very dangerous place because of the kind of person running the country. I agree with that. We're in a dangerous place here in Canada. We might be leading up to what Cliff I was talking about from the Webbot data a couple of months ago, this newly constituted Canada idea. It appears that we're starting down that path right now. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that moving forward. So again, 8 o'clock Eastern, guys. Sorry, 9 o'clock Eastern. Janine is flying back here tonight. Let me know what you guys think in the live chat. Do you think Trudeau is going to resign here today? Give me a yes or no in the live chat. Do you think Freeland is the first one of many maybe coming up this week? Let us know. Give us a yes or no in the live chat. Let me know what you think. Where are we? Are we at this critical point here in Canadian politics? Seems to me very, very interesting today. This is why I'm putting out this special report for you guys. Fascinating times, to say the least. I also was not expecting that this morning. So again, guys, join us tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. While you're there, also on beyondmystic.net, you'll see the special announcement here. The holiday sales are on. So first, we have the 50% discount code on the Insider Access Pass. That'll give you 12 months of subscription here to all of our content on beyondmystic.net, which includes these pay-per-view episodes here of the Breaking Woos, the Beyond Crypto Woo, and many, many other series there as well. And please note that starting in 2025, instead of producing 2 of these Breaking Woos Beyond the News episodes here for our audience members, we're going to be 2 a week. We're going to be producing 3 of those moving forward in 2025. So if you want to be part of that community, now's a great time to check out that Insider Access Pass here at 50% discount. Now, if you're looking at courses with respect to cryptos, tarot, astrology, all of the courses and workshop and meditations are also on sale now on the Academy page. The coupon code there is holiday50. There's a couple of exclusions there, but for the most part, everything there underneath the library is 50% off right now for the holidays. And finally, please, if you haven't done so already, consider joining us for this live conference in Ottawa in March of 2025. You can click on the button here to go to beyondmystic.net/conference. We still have a few tickets available, and you can watch online here with the streaming pass as well. So this was my special report today. Freeland resigns, yes, and Trudeau in panic. I'm Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic. I love you guys. Do the whole like, share, and subscribe thing, and we'll see you again later tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern. Au revoir.